ride poly tracks, cushion tracks, all over. And you know, we have tried cushion ride, obviously Martin Collins' poly tracks, another surface called McArdle's as well. We haven't tried Tapeta, which is Michael Dickinson's surface, or we haven't tried the Pro Ride surface, although we've had the Pro Ride guys out to us to talk about their product. So I couldn't really comment on those two. Godolphin, our neighbours, they have Tapeta surfaces on one or two of their gallops.
Do they have the Dickinson track?
That's right, correct, yeah. This is the one,
same as
Meydan, yeah, sure. And, you know, with all these tracks, there's advantages and disadvantages with all of them. And it's just getting the level of maintenance right. It's very similar to looking after a turf, a good, you know, turf track. You know, you've got to make sure your maintenance, your program's there, and you've got the guys to know how to handle it. We've had years and years and years experience looking after turf tracks around the world. But we've only had a little small period of time looking after poly tracks, or synthetics. So we're constantly learning. Guys out in Singapore, you know, Australia, America, we're all constantly learning about them, the way to manage them, you know, the pitfalls that you've got with them. But what I love about them, and from a horse point of view, is if you've got the spring, you've got that return in the surface, the energy, so the horses actually feel like they're cantering on that lovely Kakura grassland. It's that lovely spring and the energy that gives to the horse.
Is that not a problem when trainers start using the track? Because apparently a lot of trainers go too fast on them. You don't want to go too fast.
Absolutely, you're dead right, absolutely. You immediately think, God, my horse is absolutely going fantastically and floating. And the worry is, you would just go that stride too quick on them. So whereas the sands that a lot of the trainers are working on are quite deep sands, and they're going in, so they're just going slower naturally. But with the poly track surfaces or any synthetic surface, you've got that bounce, so you are bouncing off the top of them the whole time. So by saying that as well, they can be work deeper, so they ride slower, and they can be harrowed deeper, they can be harrowed firmer as well. So again, it comes back to the maintenance, getting that balance right. And I would always say, you know, make them a bit slower until everyone gets slightly used to them.
William, coming back to you, Jockey Club Estates, Newmarket and Lambourne Gallops. Tell us about how you came about this, because this is an enormous undertaking. How did the Jockey Club get all these gallops?
Well, I mean, the Jockey Club, or racing, if you like, came to Newmarket initially in the reign of James I in 1605. Jockey Club arrived in about 1760, and the local landowners happened to become members of the Jockey Club and more or less gave the land to the club. It was heathland, so we're on a very little topsoil, but on chalk, so very free draining. I mean, not great for agriculture, and in those days had very little value. And because it's been owned by the Jockey Club, whereas if it had been owned by anywhere else, it would have been houses long ago. Because it's been owned by the Jockey Club, it's preserved, and you know, we still have 2,500 acres. The actual gallops themselves, the estate's bigger, but the gallops themselves are 2,500 acres. It's extraordinary, you know, split by a town. You know, we can cross from one side of town to the other on specifically designed horse walks, and it's an odd mix of racehorse training being carried out in a semi-urban environment, but it works. And it's that variety that size of gallops can give us that the Newmarket trainers love.
It's absolutely fascinating. We'll be back in a short while, because we're just going to take a Magic Millions break and have a look what they've got to show us. Well, there you are. We've got a couple of horses that have won here. Wild Lily and Daintree Dancer off the Magic Millions. They're the Magic Millions graduates. And as you saw, Choisir produced a group winner in America. He's very big in Australia. But back with you. You now manage these gallops in Newmarket and Lambourne. So it must be a huge operation to try and run thousands of acres of gallops.
Yeah, it keeps us busy. And I'm lucky enough, the club also own, through its ownership of Epsom Racecourse, the training grounds at Epsom, on the Epsom Downs as well, and I sit on the board there. And that's one advantage, and that's why we enjoy trips like this, because everywhere you go, you see something different, and you learn something different. And also, part of our remit as the Jockey Club is to try and help spread what we learn around the world for the benefit of racing and for the benefit of the horse.
So Jockey Club Estates, as you said, own a couple of race courses as well.
No, Jockey Club Estates, I mean, we're part of the same sort of group as Jockey Club Racecourses, which own 14 racecourses in the UK.
And how many of those are synthetic surfaces?
Only one.
Only Kempton?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And that's the same surface as the one we're talking about?
It's a polytrack surface, yeah.
The polytrack surface. Now, have the trainers found it useful to be able to have the same surface there at Newmarket to be able to work on and then be able to race on that surface? Do you find horses take to the surface easily?
Yes. I mean, it's, you know, grass is grass, and that's the horse's natural environment. But, you know, a well-maintained polytrack, as Nick said, because of that return you get out of it, that you'll get out of, you know, grass at its right going, is as similar as you're going to get. It's not the same, and there will some horses that, you know, become, you know, synthetic specialists, as there are the horses that do better on one track or on one, whether it's sand or turf that are particularly going.
Nick, you obviously go out on the gallops a lot and you have an interaction with trainers.
Yeah.
And they're probably your biggest interaction. We found here trainers like different things, and there's no trainers that like. How do you get around?
Yeah, exactly the same in Newmarket and Lambourne. You know, in Newmarket we've got 80 trainers, and if you asked every single one of them, they'll all say something different. You know, one likes the track to be quicker, one likes to be softer, and that can change on a daily basis. So I've learned very quickly, you're never going to please everyone. But the most important thing is the horse, and making sure the horse has got options, variations. So even if there was one track that we might leave a little bit softer, one a little bit firmer. So the horse is the most important thing. But obviously, you know, trying to keep 80 trainers happy is pretty tricky, and you know.
Do you find that the horses that are sprinters and stayers, let's say you have the diverse type of horse with different muscle structures, need different tracks to work on? Yeah. Do sprinters go better on this type of track?
Do you know, we don't have a huge amount of sprinters in Newmarket, strangely enough. Just the sort of we tend to have sort of milers and mile pluses. But you know, every time the sprinters are over from Australia, be it Black Caviar or Tenzia, who've been in town for Royal Ascot, they tend to sort of stick on the synthetics on Alba Hatchery and on the grass, but obviously not on the hill works. I mean, a lot of our horses do a lot of hill work, conditioning work, and then tend to gallop sort of on the level. Yeah, there's variation, the variety of places for different horses to go. Like Sir Michael Stout's Carlton House, the Queen's horse. He hates going up the hills, stays off the hills completely now because of sort of you know,
just muscle enzyme.
Well, I don't know what it is, but he just doesn't like, you know, the horse doesn't go quite well up the hills, so he tends to stay on the flat. You know, there's something for every sort of different horse in Newmarket, which is great. It's got the variation.
Okay, well, now we're coming to the end of it, but the leading question, okay, as far as we're concerned, we're now looking to transfer one grass track into some type of synthetic surface. In your opinion, which is a better surface to race on, grass or synthetic? I'll start with you, William, as the big shot.
They're different.
Yeah.
There's neither one is neither better than the other. You know, the advantage of the synthetic, I mean, we tend to call them all weathers in the UK, and a properly maintained synthetic track, you're much more in control of, because okay, it does vary depending upon the weather, the amount of rain you've had, temperatures, etc. But if you've maintained it right, particularly in this sort of climate, which, you know, is not too extreme and not really that dissimilar to ours, although we would actually go colder, but not quite as hot.
Much.
You know, you have the control. Yeah. You know, you can manipulate it. Whereas with the grass, if you've had, you know, 20 mil of rain, you know, your surface is soft or whatever, and there's nothing you can do about that. You have the ability to do what you want with it. So that, you know, they're different. They're suited to different purposes. And actually, I think, you know, to have the option of both is a great advantage.
Well, the point is that we now got three options: one synthetic track, all weather; one grass, or half of each. The nitty-gritty, I think, as far as we're concerned, is that we need a synthetic track because we believe that that's going to save race meetings. We're not going to lose race meetings through excessive rain.
Yeah, undoubtedly does.
Okay, but the other side of the coin is, which is a better surface to race on?
I say, they're different. I mean,
very tricky, very tricky. I mean,
that's the problem we have.
Absolutely. And there's no doubt about it that at the end of the day, the horse is, it's a turf creature.
He's made for the grass.
He's made for the grass at the moment. And that's his natural surface. But what the synthetic does give is the closest option towards turf. I've seen sort of dirt courses. I've seen, just sand tracks and things. But I think the synthetics just give it the closest to good quality grass with that energy retention in it. So it's sort of. It just gives a good option.
Okay. Well, the final question is obviously money. If you have a grass track to run over a period of time, 3 years, let's say, and a synthetic track, whatever type of track, how does the money look? You obviously look at the balance sheets. How expensive are they to run compared to grass?
They are. I mean, I think we find with our tracks, it is more expensive as running a synthetic as opposed to grass. But as I said earlier, the ability, giving us the ability as managing training grounds, is the ability to have many more horses. Clearly, on a racetrack, it gives you the ability to hold many more race meetings. So it's a balance again.
It's absolutely fascinating because these are the problems that we are going to face now in this sort of metamorphosis of where we go with training tracks. You guys have had a look. What do you think of Greyville and the surrounds?
It's a lovely course, and what we like is in a lovely, central situation. So you have the opportunity of being, close to your customer. Nice outlook from the stands, and similar in many ways to some of our courses, because it's not a perfect oval. It's got a bit of character from that point of view, which is, I find it slightly more interesting and challenging from the race watching perspective, because it's more challenging, these more intelligent riding than maybe a perfect oval track that might be exactly the same as a track 100 miles down the road.
Guys, it's been absolutely fantastic having you here. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and we love greeting and meeting new people. We hope one day to be able to get over to Newmarket one day, but I think you've been a font of information and really have helped a lot of people make the decision, which we hope will be the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. As I said, the chaps from Newmarket, and this is the most fascinating place to visit. If you ever get a chance to go over there, I'm sure you'll be able to get a hold of William and Nick at Newmarket Estates. Go and have a look, whether you're an owner, trainer, jockey, breeder, whatever you like. I'm sure you'll be able to go over there and have a look. But I think that we've got the picture now. That certainly should put a lot of people's minds at rest. From me, James Goodman, till next week, thank you.
One of the biggest millions I've ever seen. Graceful Anna, the leader. Graceful Anna. Graceful Anna.
Interbet gives you a unique perspective on the event you wish to wager on. The trading screen provides a complete status picture, enabling you to make a more informed decision. For example,